Don't walk into another home without hearing this first.
People are going to lose their homes. They're going to lose their homes. I'm telling you guys, the storm is brewing and it's coming fast. Insurance premiums and property taxes are skyrocketing through the roof. And the result is that people's mortgage payments are getting higher and higher to the point that it's going to be unaffordable for most people.
If you're about to buy a home, I suggest you put a pause to your plans, because if you don't ask yourself these questions I'm going to mention first, then you may end up costing yourself thousands, costing your sanity, or even worse, getting stuck with a home that you absolutely hate. One thing that I've discovered in my real estate career is many home buyers, when they're out searching for their home, they only really care about two things: getting the home and the appearance of the home. Would you agree or disagree? And then many individuals wonder, why do so many people regret home ownership within their first couple of years? It's because they're all caught into the moment. For instance, a simple question like, what's included in the price? I rarely hear it. You have to remember, just because you're walking into a home and you see the microwave, the stove, the washer, the dryer, the refrigerator, maybe even a hot tub, you cannot assume that those things are included into the price. If you heard me in the beginning, you would have heard me say, put a pause to your home buying plans, because the very first question you should ask yourself is, should you rent or should you buy? There's two costs that are associated with them, and they are significantly different, and it all depends on what your game plan is going into it. I'm not going to really talk about cost of renting because it's very minimal there, because I really want to focus on the cost of home ownership, because I think that gets overlooked, or at least it doesn't get discussed a lot. And a lot of people think that all the costs is the down payment, the closing costs are the two real big things that are needed to purchase a home. But something that does get thrown under the rug a lot is maintenance, property taxes, homeowners insurance. Shoot, if you have this one, HOA. Those are the real costs of home ownership, because those are monthly occurring things that you're not going to get rid of, or you can't get rid of. So if you don't like doing your own repairs, or you don't even plan on it, maybe you can hire somebody. But even if you don't want to do that, then don't buy. If the thought of even maintaining your own lawn disgusts you, you can do the same thing, hire somebody. But if you don't want to do that, then don't buy. If you love flexibility and want to be in one state one year, the next day another year, then don't buy. But the last question I really want you to ponder on a little bit: if you do not plan on even living in that home for 7+ years, then don't even buy. Before I get to the next question, I really hope that you have a clear understanding of what your long-term plans and goals are, because if you buy in an area that has restrictions, you're really going to be upset with the purchase in itself. So the next question is, are there any zoning or even HOA restrictions? The zoning portion is really going to apply to those that are maybe looking to build, maybe even trying to put an RV park or do something of that nature. But if you have HOA restrictions, then you're going to want to ask yourself, if this is part of your long-term plans, right? Are you able to rent it out? Are you able to have a business in that community in itself? Because you'll be surprised, but a lot of HOAs, they have restrictions in terms of you being able to run a business out of your own home. Yeah, it's crazy, right? But anyways, even if you wanted to add a pool, right? Do they have any restrictions there? Because I know a lot of you guys, you buy your home and then eventually later down the line, you want to make improvements. And sometimes you hear the pool is always a part of a conversation. So does that community have any restrictions towards that? And this is where really having your long-term plan already established, or at least known, is going to be really helpful, because you can then ask those right questions and make sure that you are not putting yourself in a position where you could literally screw yourself over. I had a client once that literally was like, hey, I have an RV and I need to park it somewhere. I'm not putting it anywhere else except my home. So we have to be able to be in a community where I could park this RV right outside of my house. So there's your fair warning. If you go ahead and purchase it anyways and try to get the rules to apply to you, you'll be making a big mistake, because you'll be wasting a lot of time and energy trying to do that. In fact, speaking about time, there's a way of actually thinking about your home buying time horizon. So if you're curious about how soon should you get started so you can avoid feeling rushed, I'd recommend the process typically is going to take you at least 3 to 4 months from getting qualified to finding the home to then go ahead and purchase it and close on it entirely. But if you are relocating from one state to another, expect that timeline to be a little bit more, just because, of course, you're moving to a whole nother state that you may want to put yourself in before actually purchasing and even qualifying yourself first. Just those questions I already mentioned alone should really help you and ensure that you are making a good decision when purchasing your home. So if you are looking for a real estate agent that's going to look after your behalf, ask you those tough questions, or maybe even bring up some things you may not even be thinking about, All you have to do is click the link in the description below where you see agent referral, and that way I can connect you to a real estate agent that will look out for your behalf. Now you should ask yourself, how much are you willing to spend versus how much is the bank willing to say that you can afford? And generally speaking, those two numbers are always different because there's some numbers that the bank just does not calculate that you should be calculating. And that can be for the monthly mortgage, or that can be for the house prices in itself, just that number that you're going to use off a basis. And I hope at this point in time, you are taking notes, because man, I might drop in gems here. But on a serious note, if you don't have a financial planner, you don't have someone that's really helping you with your finances, just go find a budget sheet somewhere online and start entering that data. Because yes, one thing that you'll find is a lot of banks, a lot of lenders, they're not going to consider your extracurricular activities. So if you like shopping, you like going on vacation, partying, clubs, movies, you maybe have a pet, right? Childcare, right? All these things a bank isn't going to really look at. They're only really going to consider your debts. So you may want to actually take that into your own control at that point in time. And you can always use the 30% rule, but I don't even know if we're there now at these times and days that we're in, with prices doing what they're doing. I mean, we're in a whole nother ball game in terms of what is the actual number of your income should go towards housing. In addition to everything, one thing that you'll find is home ownership. It's not a steady price. In fact, sometimes things do go up. For instance, property taxes. You should always know how often are taxes reassessed. And if you want to take it a step further, you can even look at the tax rate to kind of get an idea of what your taxes may look like in the next reassessment. But if you think I'm fooling you, you can just hear from this lady speak about her experience of her property taxes.
Okay, so quick story time of how my mortgage increased by 120% and how easy it is for Black folks to lose their homes in America. Now, with that being said, I'm going to be completely transparent. I'm going to give y'all all the numbers. I'm just going to let you know, because I know point in hiding. I don't get keep none of that. Okay, so the beginning of this month, I wake up and I have a notification from my bank saying that my account went under $100. This is interesting because the night before I knew the mortgage was coming out, so I transferred a good hefty amount over what the mortgage was going to be, and I'm like, drop below $100, that's crazy. So I get online and I see that my bank has taken a double payment with like a little bit more. So my mortgage is usually $100, baby, I wish, $1,100. And when I went to go check, they had taken out $2,400. So my first thought is, this is interesting. Like, maybe what they did was a double payment. Like, maybe something didn't come out last month. And so, like, maybe that's what it was. Like, maybe this is double payment and like a late fee. But that wouldn't make sense to me because it's on auto pay. So if something happened and the funds were there, that wasn't on me. So anyway, I'm like, okay, whatever. Let me just check. So I scroll back up to see if the payment was taken out for March. Sure enough, it was taken out for March, a payment of $1,100. So I'm like, why did I get a payment of $2,400 taken out? So I call my mortgage company and I'm like, hey, what's good? I just want to make sure, like, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. Like, why did y'all take out a payment of $2,400? And the lady's like, oh, that's your new payment. What do you mean that's my new payment? She's like, well, that's your new payment because you don't have enough in escrow. And your taxes went up by $6,000.
But that's not all. You have homeowners insurance also that can change and fluctuate. But honestly, nowadays with the insurance companies and what they're doing, just cutting people off of their policies, that's even insane. So I'll tell you to take it a step further and really understand, where are you buying? And then, of course, we can't forget about the cost to maintain a property. Generally speaking, what I hear a lot, and a lot of individuals, they say, just put aside 1 to 3% of the home price to allow that to just be for any repairs or renovations or things that you need to do to maintain that property in itself. Another question you may want to ask yourself is, has the home had recent repairs or renovations done? The repairs portion is going to really help you understand how was the seller in maintaining that property, and is it up to date? As far as the renovation goes, this is where I really want you to pay close attention, because if there were renovations done, specifically additions done, and they were not permitted, you're going to get stuck with any issue that comes from the city, especially if you decide to purchase that property and they simply just tell you, this is not permitted. And now if they tell you it's not permitted and that's not even allowed, now you have a bigger issue. And honestly, it can lead down to one or two things. They just allow you to keep it, or, which, I mean, come on now, you think that's really going to happen? Or they're going to tell you, hey, get rid of it, or probably just get a permit for it. But just avoid any renovations that were done, especially if there weren't permits pulled. And if you get to this question here, that means you are almost at the finish line in finding your home. So this question is, how do you know if you found the right home? First and foremost, there's always going to be more than one perfect home out there for you. And honestly, I use perfect as like, and I put quotations around it, because what is a real perfect home? Unless if you build it. And even sometimes if you build it, what I found is individuals that build their home, they still find, pros and cons to it in itself. But again, it's what fits you and what it is that you're looking for it to do for you in the time being. So understand that there's more than one perfect home out there for you, or right home is a better way I should really put it. But you should also be walking around with a wants and versus a needs list. But that's one of the ways to identify if you found the right home for you. Also, another way is if you want to go see that house again for a second showing, that's an easy telltale sign that you might have found the one. And because you stayed to this point, I'll drop an extra gem for you, because I always get this question, so I'm sure you have the question as well, and that's, where can I find a deal? Honestly, just go on Zillow. There's deals all over the United States that you'll find. It's of course going to be dependent on the location, so you got to keep that in mind. But you also have to understand what makes a deal for yourself, or even what makes a good deal for that local market that you're looking in. If you're stuck on price, you got to really understand how to run comps. If you want a better interest rate, you got to understand assumable loan. If you want both of them, then maybe seller financing, or just looking for off-market deals, right? Real estate agents are one of the tools that you can utilize to kind of find yourself a deal, but there is plethora of other opportunities that you can go ahead and tap into to find yourself a deal. If you didn't know by now, I'm connected to literally thousands of real estate agents across the entire United States that I can connect you to if you are looking for one of these opportunities to go ahead and connect yourself for a deal, or better yet, you just want a real estate agent that's going to look out for your behalf. Just be sure to click the link in the description below right next to agent referral and complete the form. That way I can get in touch with you and we can connect you to a local real estate agent. But just out of curiosity, let me know in the comments below which one of these questions surprised you the most. And if you know someone that's in the house hunting phase, this is the perfect video to send over to them. But just as much as I enjoy making these videos for you all, my name is Roney Polynice, and remember, I got your back.